So yes, this is a reality what you're currently seeing right now, Godot 4.4 release. Okay, so indeed we do have the official release of Godot 4.4. As you can see, the post is quite long, so I will make sure to only highlight those features that are actually important for the most general Godot user, okay? But of course, remember, if you want to learn all the new stuff, you can always go to the full post. First of all, if you want to update your Godot projects to Godot 4.4, make sure that you actually take a look at the migration guide that is provided right over here. First of all, we have the Jolt physics natively integrated. If you don't know what this is an extension that has been used a lot. Okay, if you actually click here on Jolt physics, you're going to be able to read even more information about it. As you can see, it has been the physics engine for the Horizon Forbidden West game, for example. And as you can see here, like the behaviors that it provides, also the performance is much better than Godot physics. So previously you had to download it as an add-on, okay, but now it is going to be directly integrated in the project settings. You will still have to manually enable this alternative. We are going to be seeing this inside of the engine. So it's not the default physics engine, at least right now. It may be with the following versions. So let's actually start off by downloading this new version and seeing these things as we mentioned them. So here I am, and I can directly go to project settings, and here in physics 3D, as you can see, I find here the physics engine, okay, and by default it's set to the default one, but now we are also able to select here Jolt physics, okay, so we can go ahead, select it, and press save and restart. And now if we go back over there, it is going to be the option that will be selected right over here. The idea is that in the near future, this is the default option selected over there. Then we have two things related to the window itself, and now you can embed it. And not only that, but you also have interactive in-game editing. So let's actually see this inside of here. So okay, this is the scene that I have over here, quite simple. So what you can do, for example, is go to the 3D mode over here. This will allow you to select the 3D node. And as you can see now, you can do whatever you want with it. So for example, let's go over here and modify the Y rotation, I don't know, to something like this. And when we come back, as you can see, it's been rotated. This is for the in-game interacting editing, but also you can make it be embedded. So you can directly disable and make it floating. So when you play again, it's going to be embedded directly over there. And once again over here, you can go to the 3D mode and select this and directly modify any property right over here, for example. Also, for example, we now have the Android editor that is going to support XR devices, and also going to be having UV shaders to reduce stutter. And here you can, well, take a look at like what's the actual difference with this. But well, these are not for the general Godot user, maybe just for some specific developers. And for example, here in we now have 3D physics interpolation, so this just makes that physics are performant and that they do look good when there is low ticks or low frame rate, okay, as you can see. So of course on the right we have with interpolation, on the left we have without interpolation. It's quite easy to understand what is going on. We also have a new tone mapping algorithm, and we are now also going to be having typed dictionaries. So instead of having to declare your dictionary keys and values directly in the code, what you can do is to add the export annotation over there. So let me actually delete here the assignment of the dictionary, and as you can see, it's going to appear directly here on the inspector. So we can directly go ahead and add a new key and value. So for example, I created here just an example. So for the string, let's put, for example, number 1, and in the new value, let's put 1, and we can add it. So there we have it. We have number 1. Let's also add number 2, etc. Okay, and you can modify here the values. You can also modify the key names, I believe. Well, no, you can't, I believe. You can also just delete it or do whatever you want to do. For example, a thing worth mentioning is that now curves are going to be having domains outside of just range 0, 1, so you're going to be able to have more control over the exact curves that you create. There's also been a performance boost for everyone because how Godot processes nodes, scenes, etc. has been made better. So now it is meant to have better performance when you are renaming, reordering, etc. multiple nodes. If it ever happened to you that you have your paths broken. Okay, now with universal UID support or unique identifiers, now you won't have that problem anymore. Now this topic has actually like a lot of information inside of it, so I recommend that you press on the read more, and here you're going to find a whole post about it, or we even have a whole video on the channel talking about this. So now you're going to be able to move the different folders and files around, and the references to this are not going to break. And these references could be directly in the Godot editor. If you are referencing a script or a scene or whatever inside of a script, well then that reference is not going to be broken. Something also pretty cool also here, 3D object snapping, so creating things and positioning different models in the 3D environment is going to be a little bit better. We also now have favorite editor items, so let's actually see this inside of Godot because this is quite interesting. If you, for example, don't like having the position kind of hidden, okay, and you want to show it a little bit easier, find it a little bit easier, you can right click, press favorite property, and there you're going to find it at the very top of every single thing left, and you also right click on it again and just unfavorite it so that it will come back to normal. We also have a camera 3D preview, so once again this is something that is worth checking out here. So for example, here in the camera, when I was positioning it, I didn't need to use this preview option or to play the game and see where the camera was. I can actually just take a look at here on the right and on the inspector and do whatever adjustments I need to do to the camera. This is also something quite interesting, GDScript tooltips. So whenever you have any kind of code, you can hover over it and you will have it directly over here. Now you also have syntax highlighting, as you can see, so quite interesting. As you can see, this works for lots of keywords inside of GDScript. This is something quite interesting that we would have to try it out actually in a different video, that now the Android editor should be able to export the game to different platforms. Because now you can directly download the export templates onto your Android device and directly export it. So for example, creating an APK to share with your friends or to just store for yourself should be much easier. Now there's also going to be a .NET 8.0 support. We are also going to be having faster imports. You can also select custom colors for your collision shapes to differentiate them a little bit better. And once again, I've just mentioned the ones that I believe are the most important features to mention, because there are still lots of these that I did not mention, because if not, we would have a video 20 minutes, 30 minutes long, and I believe that's not the idea. I tried to mention the ones that I believe that at least for me or for the general Godot user would be useful. But once again, if you really want to know everything about this update, make sure that you check this whole post inside of the official Godot Engine website. You just go over there and press directly right here. So this is all for this video, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Bye bye.